So we are going to get started. We just need to stream to one more place that I almost forgot. We'll be all set. Okay, thank you everyone. My team, there's a few members from our team in the building that will be able to assist you if you need anything further. And I'm just gonna go ahead and turn the stream on so we can get that started. Maybe not. Maybe it doesn't want to work for us today. That's okay. That's why we use Zoom, because you never know what these social platforms are going to allow you to do and not allow you to do. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we can go ahead and get started. Everybody should be able to see my screen. Okay, I assume. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining the Childcare Profit Systems training. This is the training where we are going to talk about how to grow and keep your profits 6 to 7 figures and beyond. If you know me, you know one of my favorite sayings is, thou must know thy numbers to grow thy numbers. And we're going to get started. So, have you ever wondered how other child care centers are able to grow so quickly? It's like they open up overnight and they're fully staffed. They are fully enrolled and they're not even working in the classroom all week long. And like a week later, it seems like that's what we see. We see them with their perfect hair, their perfect makeup, the nicest cars, the baddest bags, and they can afford to take time away and go on extravagant, fancy trips and vacations. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, you are pouring your heart and soul into your dream from sun up to sundown, and you have no idea of what you can do and what you can afford to do. Many of you are not even paying yourselves on a regular basis. So, what makes them so different than you? It's not that they love the children any more than you do. It's not that they're smarter than you. They're not better than you. Some of them don't even have as much industry experience as you do. So, why is it that they seem to have it all figured out? And meanwhile, you're stuck, barely able to make sense of the numbers. You started your business because you wanted a change in your life and you wanted to make impact. You know what it takes to make impact? It takes money to make impact. Even the Bible tells us that money solves all things. How much impact could you make if you had and kept more of your own money? Well, I've come to realize that it's not enough to simply make money if you can't enjoy it. It's not enough to make 6 and 7 figures if you don't actually get to keep any of that money. You went into childcare business because you wanted to make a difference in your lives and the lives of your students and your community. We get it. But instead of thinking it's not all about money, that's a cop out. I want you to think of all the good you could do if you had more money. Think about those multiple locations. How many multiple location owners do we have on this Zoom right now? And I want to see your beautiful faces. So go ahead and turn your cameras on. So when we get to the fun part, we can see who's here. Think about the multiple locations you could own, the elementary schools that you want to start. Think about the franchises you could form, the scholarships you could give to lower income families in your area. Think about how you could afford to pay to attract and retain the very best staff. Think about your retirement, your succession plan, your generations to come. Let's think about that. Well, now that we're all on one accord, do we like thinking about things like this? Hi, Diane, I see you. Hello, daycare millionaires. So, congratulations. Stephanie is getting certified on her 3rd childcare tomorrow. Hey, Ebony from Bright Minds. Hi, Bridget. Thank you all so much for joining. So now that we're all on one accord and we're thinking about all the things that we'll be able to do, all the impact we'll be able to meet, I want those of you to have your workbooks. How many of you have your workbooks? If you got the workbook, it's going to come in a lot of handy because we are going to use these workbooks to help you plot out your profit systems. And that's why I wanted to be sure that everybody had a chance to receive their emails before we got started. Okay, yes, ma'am. Hands up. We got our workbooks. Let's get it. If you didn't get a workbook, it's not too late to get a workbook. Someone will share a link for you. If you decide you want one, you don't need one. You can still hang out, have a lot of stuff to share with you. You can still get a lot of value even if you don't have a workbook. Absolutely okay. But if you need a workbook, keep your eyes peeled to the comments. Christine is going to drop us the link for the workbook. So let me formally introduce myself. My name is Shanita Jones. I am your childcare CPA, and our firm, Jones Taxes and Financial Services, specializes in working with childcare CEOs, helping them to build scalable, saleable businesses so that they can impact, empower, and educate the world one student at a time. And our role in doing this, we do this with 7 financial systems. So a lot of you may already notice these slides don't look as colorful and kid friendly as they usually do. They're pretty much black and white. And that's because there's no gray areas here. We're either profitable or we're not. Point blank, period. And tonight I want to talk to you about 7 important financial systems that you need in your childcare business if you would like to grow your profits 6 to 7 figures and beyond. And by profits, I mean what's left over after your expenses. So for those of you that had a workbook, we are going to go right in order of the workbook. Be sure to take notes, jot down any questions, and I will be able to take them at the end. So let's get started. Childcare profit system numero uno, number 1. Payment systems. Payment systems are important. This is not only how you get paid, but it's how you ensure that you're paid timely and full and that your funds are secure. Despite what you may have heard, Zelle, Cash App, Venmo are not the most appropriate and optimal payment systems for your childcare business or really any other business. You see, your payment system should have a few key characteristics that those apps simply do not possess. Your payment system should be automated. It should be able to send recurring invoices and keep running balances of who owes you, for how much, and for how long. And for those of you that receive subsidy payments, do we have anyone that receives subsidy payments today? If you receive subsidy payments, you really should consider invoicing for these as well to make sure you're receiving the proper amount of money. Shout out to Pennsylvania. I'm a Philly girl. Hey, Harrisburg. So, in speaking of these balances, with the right system in place from the beginning, and if you're charging before services are rendered, you really shouldn't have any running balances. But things happen, and if you do, your system should be able to give you clear sight of what those balances are, who owes them, and for how long they owe them. Your payment system needs to ensure that your electronic payments are going to go directly into your bank account. And I'm going to tell you why. Going to the bank is expensive. We want to avoid going to the bank. When you have to, so think about going to the bank. You have to stop what you're doing. Maybe you have to drive. You have to go there and wait in line. And then you have to get back. And when you get back, you have to go back to whatever you were doing and pick up where you left off. Context switching causes us to lose a lot of time. And y'all know what time is. Time is opportunity. And and this is costing you, and that's assuming you're able to leave your center, because the way coverage is, some days you might not be able to leave your center. Not to mention that carrying cash around is not always the safest thing to do. Another reason you need to have your payment system set up electronically is because electronic payments are more secure. You don't need to worry about your cash growing legs and walking away from you because it's directly deposited into your bank account. So in your workbooks, and I'll see if I can pull it up and show you. Slide this over here. I'll grab it for you in a second. But in your workbooks, there is a place in your workbook where you are able to actually go through. Here it is. You'll be able to go through all of the steps, and there's instructions in here. So y'all not gonna get me this time. There's instructions. So there's a place where you can go through here and you can help map out and plot out all of the information that we're talking about. You'll be able to take inventory of all of your payment systems, all of the vendors or families that are paying you, so that you can streamline and secure your payments. There's also a place for your notes, and there's also a place for some of the other things. And you can even talk about how improving or implementing all of your payment systems, because sometimes we do have payment systems in place, but we don't have them in place across the board. And we're going to talk about why that's a problem, in addition to it being more secure to have them electronically. Electronic payment systems will also help you with cash flow. It'll help prevent cash flow issues. If your money is in the bank sooner, that means you don't have to borrow as much or for as long or at as higher interest rate. So every time I talk about the importance of electronic payment systems, a lot of people are concerned about the fees. Well, some systems will actually allow you to charge the fee to your parents, or you can just increase your rates so that your fees can be included and covered. But either way, the fees are deductible and they are a cost of doing business. So when it comes to these payment plans, whether you're using electronic or manual systems, you need to have checks and balances in place. Electronic systems make it so much easier to do this because you can run reports that will allow you to ensure what was collected actually made it into the bank. Isn't it important to make sure that our money is going to the bank? Okay. So what's collected will have to be recorded because parents will need to receive their receipts when they pay. And guess what? Banks make mistakes too. Big mistakes sometimes. So business owners, childcare CEOs, you want to make sure your system has a unique username and password for each employee that has access. You want to make sure that you are reconciling your payment reports to what actually went in the bank. The same person collecting the money should not be the same person recording the money and going to the bank. You don't want the foxes counting the chickens in the hen house, okay? And this is something that your accountant can assist with, help you figure out a good way to do it, or you really need to do it yourself because you need to be aware. You need to keep your eyes on the prize and know what's going on. Okay. You got to secure the bag. Even the kids tell us that now. So some people do it on a daily basis. Some people do it on a weekly basis, at a monthly basis, even. Quarterly is waiting too long. Waiting to the end of the year is totally too long. We see a lot of situations where people believe they're being paid for things and they aren't paid because money come in and go out so quickly. So some of you may even learn to do your own childcare accounting in our childcare accounting and business academy. And we made a lot of changes to it. I'll tell y'all about that when we get done with our systems. The point I'm trying to make here about payments is that you must stay on top of your payments. Now, there's some bonuses that comes along with having your electronic payment systems in place. So our larger centers, Ms. Joyce, we here. I got the answer to your question. Our larger centers use ProCare and Brightwell, but there's many more on the market. Many of the childcare payment systems on the market will allow you to do a whole lot of things besides get paid. You can communicate with your families. You can maintain meal records if you need to for the food program. You can keep your immunization records. You can keep your staff records in there. You can see your family balances. You can even allow your family members to sign the children in and out with the systems for attendance purposes. So there are some systems that are so cool that when the parents sign in, they can see how much their balance is. So it's never any confusion about, did I pay? What's my balance? I didn't get my credit. So just think about all the time and stress that using an electronic payment system can save you if you have this set up. Now, my favorite part of electronic payment systems is the ability to run year-end reports for parents when they need their tax returns. Some of these parents will blow you up just to get the receipt for that $99 in copay they paid the entire year for care. Have any of you all experienced that? Do you have any of these parents that just drive you insane every year? And oftentimes you can't figure, and it's the ones that really paid a lot are usually the last ones to ask. So y'all ready for y'all ready for childcare profit system number 2? We ready for number 2? All right, let's go. I see our childcare ninjas in the building. Let's go. Okay. Childcare profit system number 2. Now we just covered our payment system. Now in your workbooks, I want you to take notes for yourself. And I want you to think about it closely. This is not a timed exercise. You do not have to finish it today. You can go back and you can look at it again later on after the training, but I want to be sure you all understand where everything is so you know how to access everything you need. I done lost my Zoom screen, behaving like my mama. Okay, so in your workbooks, you can determine what effects are electronic payments causing you to have, or not having one in place, or not using it all the time. Because it's just as bad if you have it and you use it sometimes and not other times. How much money or time risk are you taking on just because you won't just set the system up? How much is it really costing you? Because oftentimes it's costing you more than the price that it would take for you to implement it. Childcare system number 2 is actually our banking systems. And now that we know that we're in business to make money and the best way to get paid, it's important that we have number 2 in system, our banking systems. The first thing I want to say is do yourself a favor and open a business bank account if you haven't already. You must have a business bank account for your business transactions. Now, some of you may have a DBA and they may not allow you to actually open up an account in the company's name with your DBA, depending on your state. But at the very least, just have a dedicated account that is just for business use only. It will come in so much handy later. You'll understand why when we get to the rest of the points. Let's see if we can find our Zoom screen again. Still can't find it. Okay. So now I don't mean for you to go open up 99 bank accounts, but at least one business bank account. Having too many bank accounts for your business will only cause you more problems, money, stress, and confusion. Now, there's this book. I used to buy it for all of my new clients, and I don't do that anymore. The book was called Profit First. And I stopped doing that because my clients would go open up 99 bank accounts, and that was a problem. And they were so busy, they couldn't keep track of all of the bank accounts that they had created. So they would have overdrafts in one account and have a lot of money in another account. But then I had some clients, they had the opposite problem. They had no profit, but they was trying to do profit first. So now they busy shuffling money between one account to the next account, taking money off the top, and then only having to transfer it back when they couldn't afford their business's obligations. So how many accounts do you need for your business, right? I know that's probably what you're thinking. This is not a one size fits all. What you're going to need for your business is going to depend on your business. But in working with thousands of childcare providers, this has been the mix that has seemed to be most ideal for most of the childcare business owners that we work with. And what they need is you need an operating account. Your operating account is generally where all of your expenses are going to come from. It may be where your money comes into. You also want to have a payroll account. You want to have a payroll account if cash flow is a problem, or if cash flow is a problem, or you'll want to have a payroll account if your payroll company doesn't impound the taxes from your pay. And by impound, I simply mean they need to be taking the taxes out every payroll. So Clatanya, if you're listening, I can't find my Zoom box. Please tell me what I need to do. The other thing is your food program. I know the state of Georgia is kind of particular about their food program accounts, and they don't want you mixing your food program transactions with your other ones. So you may need a separate account for that. And then in my city, Philadelphia, there is a pre-K program that sometimes it makes it easier to just have all those funds in a different bank account. But a lot of them will actually tell you specifically if you need to have a separate bank account. But beyond this, you need to think about your business and make sure that you don't have too many for your own business. Okay. So y'all knew it was coming, right? Because y'all know me, y'all knew it was coming. Another point about banking systems, and I promised myself I would not lead with this at first, and that is, but for those of y'all who know me and have heard me speak a couple of times about this, I just want to let you know commingling is bad for business. So, what is commingling, you might ask? Commingling is the mixing of business and personal funds. And grab this, it's also commingling if you mix in funds from ABC Daycare with 123 Childcare and XYZ Academy. Mixing it between multiple businesses is still commingling, even if you own all the businesses, okay? And it's bad because serious business owners understand they need to keep their funds separate. Protect your profits, people. Protect your profits. I'm not licensed to practice law, but I've worked with enough attorneys and I've seen enough things happen where I can confidently tell you from experience that if you mix your business and personal funds together, you could weaken the protections that the law affords you otherwise. What this means is, God forbid someone sues your business, they could possibly come after your personal assets. Because the moment you start commingling, you blur the lines between business and personal assets or business and business assets. And you also start to weaken your corporate protections. That means that everything in that case could go up for grabs. And that, what does that mean? You could lose your stuff, your personal stuff. You could lose your stuff. So you didn't go through the trouble of creating your business and forming your LLC or your corporation so that you could lose everything and have everything at risk. So make sure that you're not putting it at risk simply by commingling. Now, that's the legal reason why commingling is bad. But there's other reasons. Commingling distorts the visibility of your cash flow. Okay? So, from an accounting standpoint, commingling makes it more difficult to understand what is your real cash flow from the business. How profitable are you really? And a lot of times it causes people to miss out on tax deductions. Stephanie, that is not a rule for all businesses. That's a suggestion. It's just a common suggestion. And as far as each center goes, it all depends how you're tracking your accounting. But we can talk more. We can talk more about that when we get to the Q&A section. But that's a very good question. Very good question. So, payment systems and banking systems, they go hand in hand. So in system one, we got paid. We talked about our payment system. And we wanted to make sure it was deposited electronically into our system number two, banking system. But one problem we see with people in their banking systems is they have no clue how many bank and credit card accounts they actually have because they have so many. They also erroneously miss out on their business expenses. Sometimes they even get in trouble with the IRS because they leave income out as well. And then when the IRS runs their checks, the IRS is able to see that more income was reported for your business or your social than you recorded on that return. Wasn't because you were trying to sneak and cheat and be dishonest. It's simply because a lot of people don't have their information separately. So I created a workbook activity for this. And I know we like work, we like activities. So I want you to go through your business bank accounts and look at all of the business expenses that are coming out of your personal account, the personal expenses that are coming out of your business account. I also want you to think about how many bank accounts you have, where are they, and download all your bank statements. So I'm not going to be able to go through all of the things in the workbook, But these are the things that we actually have our clients go through. And this is one of the worksheets that we'll be using in our academy to ensure that our students are taking all the steps the right way, because we just had the best students in Canada and they basically taught me how to teach it. Shout out to Canada. So I want you to go through your workbooks and do all of the exercises, especially the one with your banking systems, because guess what? It's October. We are in October. The end of the year is coming. Don't wait and show up in January talking about, oh, I got one more bank account. Don't do it to yourself, okay? Know how many accounts you have and know where all of your expenses are located. This workbook activity will help you do that. Once you get to thinking about a little bit of it, you'll be able to work through more of it. You can do it on your tablet, your iPad, your Remarkable, your laptop, your desktop, whatever. But the key point is commingling makes it difficult to understand how well your business is really doing. So with your banking system, when you commingle, when you see that balance in there, that balance, if you're commingling, is not just an effect of what's going on in your business, it's also your personal stuff, and it muddies the water. So your profit and loss statements, if you're using these blurred statements to do them, your profit and loss statements read incorrectly and they're missing key information. I've seen clients, former clients, they just could not understand why they needed to make sure that all of their business transactions were recorded in their books. So why would you hire an accountant or take the time to do your books and not make sure all of your transactions are being accounted for? Because then when you're reading them statements, what you're reading is make fairy believe, it's not real. And I know a lot of people say, well, Shanita, that's fine and well, but I gotta commingle. They say, I gotta do it because I don't pay myself. Well, guess what? Have you ever commingled before because you weren't paying yourself? And I'm watching in the comments, who's gonna be real and be honest about it? We're here to get help. When we know better, we do better, and we're gonna be okay. So people will say they are commingling because they're not paying themselves, and this is their way of paying themselves. But I have something on the next slide that's going to help you solve that problem. That's what it is. It's payroll systems. This is going to help you pay that. This is going to help you solve that problem. So it's very important to know how and that you should be paying yourself for the work you do in your business. My most popular video on my YouTube channel is how do I pay myself? The YouTube channel is the Childcare CPA. So you should be paying yourself for the work you do. Now, how you pay yourself is going to depend on your business's tax structure. Does everyone here know how to pay themselves? Because I can skip over this part and I can jump to some more stuff if we all know how to pay. If we all know how to pay ourselves, I can skip over this part.
Please don't skip that.
Okay. Okay. No one left behind. Okay.
Yes,
So
let's do that.
it depends on what your business's tax structure is. What is your business's tax structure? No, it's not too late to get a workbook. Christine, somebody needs a workbook. If you could give them the link, please. So what's your business's tax structure and how do you find out what it is? If you are not sure what your tax structure is, you can look at your IRS EIN letter, look at your prior tax return, look at any notices that you may have received from the IRS, or consult your accountant or another tax professional. So in the workbook on payroll systems, and I want y'all to really do it. And I want y'all to share your work with me. As a matter of fact, if you have a workbook, do me a favor and post in the daycare group. Do us a favor and post in the Childcare Profit Strategy Community Workbook and let us see what you're doing. Let us see this work you're putting in. So in payroll systems, I want you to note your biggest takeaway. And I see your questions about Gusto, and we are Gusto people advisors. So I'm going to tell you about Gusto in a minute. I want you to think about, are you doing things correctly? What is it costing you? And guess what? We got a goal date. We have a goal date. When are we going to get it right? And if you don't have a payroll system that is an affiliate link, you can sign up. And I think Gusto is giving you $100 gift card or something like that. You can click this button and it'll take you to the affiliate page. And I want you to write down how will implementing or improving it help your business. Okay. So we ain't done with payroll yet. So we ain't going over there to the next screen. Because I need to tell y'all how to pay yourselves. Does everyone want to know how to pay themselves? Does anyone want to know how to pay themselves? Especially the people who are working by themselves in their own business. Okay. I need everybody to get paid. Okay. Okay. So, and I'm gonna go fast. So make sure y'all making notes. Make sure y'all taking notes. Make sure y'all getting them jotted down in this workbook. I see you lighting up the Zoom. Thank you. I feed off of energy for those of you who didn't know. As a general rule of thumb, if you are a nonprofit and you work in the organization, which is not your business, but that's another discussion for another day. If your organization is a nonprofit, you belong on payroll for the work you do in your business. If your business is a corporation and you work in the business, you belong on payroll for the work you do in the business. If your business is an S corporation, and I'm not going to get in trouble with saying that word wrong again, you belong on payroll. But as an S corporation, part of your salary may come from distribution as well. Now, there's a lot of rules surrounding S Corps. We do not have time to go into that tonight, but just know the gist of it is if you work in that business and you are not on payroll, know that the IRS, this is one of the things that they are heavily auditing right now. As a matter of fact, if you have an S Corp, can I get an S in the comment box? I want to get a feel for how many S corporations. Let us know your entity status. Are you a sole proprietor? Are you an S Corp? Are you a nonprofit? Who is in the room so we know how to answer? All right. I like S's. S for Shanita. Okay. Now, if your business is a multi-member partnership or a multi-member LLC, you do not belong on payroll. Partners, you do not belong on payroll. LLC members with 2, 3, 4, 5, you do not belong on payroll unless you have made an election to be taxed otherwise. So if you are a sole proprietor or you file a Schedule C for your business or one person LLC, you do not belong on payroll. If you're a Schedule C filer, what I mean by that is and your business, your business and your personal return, that information is filed on one return. If you want to know what is best for you and your business, you really need to have a consultation with an accountant because what's better for Mary might not be better for Jean. So that it would be irresponsible for me to tell you. But all of this switching back from an S Corp, I see the comments. Just know if you switch your S Corp back, you cannot get your S Corp back for 5 years. And by default, you go to a C Corp, and C Corps do pay double taxation. So you really want to get a consultation before you make moves in your company. Make sure you understand. That might be your goal, but make sure you make an informed decision. So let me tell y'all something about these payroll companies, because I did see the discussion y'all were having earlier about Gusto. Payroll companies are not there to give you tax advice. They'll do what you ask them to do. They'll do things to make sure you want to make sure you're doing it correctly. You want to talk to your accountant. You want to have a consultation. Don't call somebody 1-800. I'm a book a free discovery call and tell me about your services, because if you're calling someone and you're doing that, they're not actually giving you advice. They're just talking to you about what they do and what you do. So how much should you pay yourself? That's going to depend on what the other financial systems that we're going to discuss reveals to you. But with the proper system in place, you are going to understand exactly how much you can afford to pay yourself. For W-2 employees, they belong on payroll. The IRS has very strict rules surrounding who is an employee and who is an independent contractor. And the IRS has also hired 87,000 new agents, okay? So now, there is no such thing as a 1099 employee. If the IRS gave you personalized, specific, private information just for you, that's great, but I will call back and I will confirm it because I've never heard of that. So saving money on taxes is not a good reason to pay someone who should be an employee as a contractor, nor Is it a good reason because maybe Big Mama doesn't want to mess up her check or because it's cheaper? Be careful. Consult an HR professional before you make elections. So I'm going to tell you what to look for in a good payroll company. And then in your workbook, there's also some questions so that you can make sure that you're compliant. You can start asking yourself the right questions, looking at the right things to work with your accountant to make the best decision. So these are some things that you want to look for in a good payroll company. There may be more, but there'll be some. Notice I didn't say the smiling face that greets me. Notice I didn't say the small town guy in my neighborhood that I went to high school with. Now, if you can find somebody to work with that you also enjoy and like, that's great. But if you can't, that's okay too. But these are the things that are important about your payroll company. You want to make sure they file your quarterly payroll tax returns. You want to make sure they file your annual tax returns and W-2s. You want to make sure they remit. And by remit, I basically mean send the tax money to the government agencies, be it the IRS, be it the Social Security Department, be it state government, your local governments. They should be sending all the money, any garnishment, child supports. You shouldn't be having to deal with that. Your payroll company should do it. And your payroll company should be withholding taxes for your employees. And guess what? A good payroll company, a good payroll company will guarantee any penalties that happen as a result of payroll errors. Payroll penalties are among the harshest penalties that there are. I've personally never seen anyone go to jail for not paying their income tax, but I have seen people go to jail for not paying their payroll taxes. So it's important to be compliant. Okay. I've seen people not just lose their freedom, but their homes, their marriages, their savings, all their businesses, all over payroll tax debt. I haven't seen any. No, I'm not saying don't pay your other taxes, just pay this. I'm not saying that, God forbid. Don't case me up. But I am saying that this is one of the fastest ways to find yourself in trouble. So here are some payroll companies that I recommend. You may have other payroll companies that you like, that you use, but this is just my experience, my opinion. Notice that QuickBooks is not on this list. So ADP, Gusto, Paychex, and Patriot is good if you're like a single member S Corp or you have a few employees. I actually like Patriot. We use Patriot for some of our smaller clients. We are Gusto people advisors and we're ADP affiliates as well. And we like Paychex, but we're not an affiliate though. So I know one of the scariest things for new and small business owners is not being able to make payroll. Have you ever feared that you wouldn't be able to make payroll or didn't do all the things that you were wanting to do and needing to do because you were afraid that you might not be able to make payroll? Has this ever happened? Well, one of the scariest things is that feeling. And if you are not commingling, that's going to help you because you'll clearly see what's in the business account and what's available for spending. Most payroll companies require the funds to be in an account at least 3 business days before payroll. So that's another thing. Commingling can have you run into the bank to cash a check, to move money, to take money over here, and you just messing up all the payroll systems, all the systems to protect your profits. But I know one thing that can help you ease some of these payroll concerns. And I'm gonna tell you on the next slide. So I'm not gonna we'll talk about my reasonings later. But basically, I don't like payroll companies that I see tend to not file payroll tax returns and where I see a large amount of payroll penalties occurring with people that are using them. So this next system I'm about to tell y'all about, y'all want to know the next system? The next system that my 7-figure, and we have one childcare business owner, she's about to cross over into the glorious land of 8 figures. All of these businesses are doing it, okay? They all have this in place. Our childcare profit system number 4, our childcare profit system number 4 is our budgeting system. Now, a lot of people cringe and have flashbacks when they hear the word budget because they're used to hearing budgets being discussed in the context of not being able to afford something. Many of us use the word budget, or our parents use the word budget, and it basically meant that we didn't have money, or I got money, but I don't have money for that. And we don't, nobody likes to be told no. But that is not what budgeting is about. A budget is not a plague or a punishment. A budget is actually a tool that, when used effectively, will help you to grow, expand, make more money. A budget will help you to meet payroll and all of your other obligations. A budget will help you to know what should be left over at the end of the month. What can you afford to pay yourself? A budget will help you plan for retirement, go on vacations, afford coaching programs, accountants, attorneys, and other things you really need to do to be able to scale your business. But simply having a budget is not enough. You need to actually become one with your budget. I told you it's a tool, so you need to use it. You need to make sure that you're not just looking at the possible and probable financial outcomes of your business. You need to compare what actually happens to what you budgeted to happen. And this is how you really get to know your numbers to grow your numbers. So I have one client, I don't know if she's here. She actually allowed us to interview her on our YouTube channel. And so I had permission to share her story. Her name is Vania, Journey 511, shout out to North Carolina. She actually budgeted her way out of her family childcare into her first commercial space. And now we are headed into our second space. And it's been just about 2 years. I say we because we've been on this journey, on this path with her, and we're so excited. She has an amazing story. Y'all should check it out. So the more intentional you are about budgeting, the better you become. But you got to give yourself grace. A budget is not a crystal ball, but it will help you to manage your priorities and give you clarity. Budgeting will help you to understand what size building you need, how many children you need, how many staff, what pay rates you can afford, what trainings and conferences you can attend, when can you afford to do the repairs or renovations, how much you can pay yourself, when you can go on vacation. Budgeting can do all of this for you. And then once you have this budget, you need to compare it to your actual performance so that you can understand how accurate your budget was. And if you're over or under, you can make adjustments. Now, with our clients, we don't do a static, not changing budget. What we actually do with our clients is we do projections. We do tax projections, cash flow projections, and they're more precise because we can update them quarterly, or for our CFO clients, we can actually update them monthly. So how do you compare your budget to your actual? How many of you all are actually in a regular practice of comparing your budget to what actually happened in your businesses? And I'll wait. And don't forget, Christine is taking attendance, and she's gonna, or Clatanya, I believe, is taking attendance, and we are gonna pull a name out of a hat for a winner that has stopped from beginning to end. Okay, so that's great. Stephanie says she would like to be. There's nothing wrong with saying that you would like to be. That's great. Okay. So if you're not doing it, it's not too late. And guess what? A new year is about to start. So you need to read your financial statements. That's where all this information comes from. And what I did for our budgeting purposes is I even got you started with your budgeting systems. Now, I wasn't going to tell y'all this, I was going to wait, but we are going to be hosting a training probably late this year. And the training, we're actually going to work on projecting our profits for 2023 to make our next year our best year. So when you're looking at your budgeting, and I'll just show you a little bit of this. I want you to think about all of your recurring revenue sources. I want you to think about what are your recurring expenses, what large future expenditures do you have? And guess what? You got to have some personal goals too. So what is the goal? Why do you want this? How will it improve your life? And what's the date? We got to stop having goals with no dates, because a goal without a date is not going to happen. A goal with a date is a plan. Then you can get into the strategy of how to make it happen. So we have a lot of stuff in the workbook, and it will also help you with your budgeting to even just get a clear picture and having everything together and done. So, are y'all ready for childcare profit system number 5? Is anybody ready for number 5? I am so disappointed that I cannot see. Okay, we ready for profit system number 5. That's good. That's exciting. We about to start number 5, and I think I found what I was looking for. I don't know. Okay. Okay. So we got all this budgeting together. And the thing about budgeting is, as we discovered, it doesn't really mean anything if we're not comparing it to see if we're doing what we said we were going to do. You could even be doing better than you thought you were going to do. And then you would know, oh, I need to do more of this because my numbers are doing great. Or something you thought was going to work really well might not work as well as you thought it did. So then you can stop and you can shift and you can turn things around. But the whole purpose of doing this, and where a lot of this information comes from, is going to come from system number 5, which is our record keeping system. I know records is so exciting, right? Probably not. Imagine a state coming into your facility to do an inspection and you don't have all your paperwork. What would that mean for you? Would it be fines, provisional licenses, bad reputations, closures, loss of revenue? Would they keep picking with you because they caught you once and they know they're going to catch you again? All of that sounds pretty bad, right? Well, guess what? Just like you have to maintain data for the operational day-to-day activities in your business, you also have to maintain data for your financial and tax purposes. If you don't have this documentation and you're called upon for it, it can mean pretty severe consequences in this case as well. So I'm going to give y'all a list. This is not all inclusive, but this is a list of some records that you absolutely, positively need to keep in your business. And these are in no particular order, and there's more. And if your organization is a nonprofit, there's even more things that you'll need to keep. So you'll need to keep your policies and procedures regarding your accounting plans and your reimbursement policies. All these meals, all this feeding everybody, you need to be keeping track of who is being fed and the purpose of it. All the payment receipts when your parents are paying you. And we discussed the payment systems. Using those payment systems will help. You need to be keeping your contracts for large renovations and build outs, all your leases. You need to keep all of this for your tax accounting. Keep receipts for your purchases when you're going on conferences, when you're traveling. Where'd you go? Where's the dates? Anything else you spent money on for your business and you plan on claiming it as a business expense. You want to personally download and save all of your payroll reports and returns. Save your payroll reports and returns. No one does this. And with everything going on, we're seeing a lot of ERC audits, So you want to make sure you have all of your documentation in place. A lot of systems will only keep that information for 3 years anyway, and then you will have to request it from them. So my suggestion for keeping up with all this documentation is to get a scanner, scan your documents by month, save it to the cloud. It's nothing worse than spending all this time scanning something and then your computer dies and all your document dies. ERC is the employee retention credit. Some people call it the employee retention tax credit. So you have a smartphone. You can scan, snap pictures and send it to the cloud. QuickBooks, I want to talk about QuickBooks here. They do have the receipt capture feature, but should you decide to change accounting softwares, you will lose it. Should all of your data become lost, you will lose it. There is someone on the training right now that I personally know, all of her information has disappeared. So you want to be careful with that. So we know that record keeping systems can be a challenge. So we have gotten you started with what you need for your record systems. Stephanie, I told you my recommendation is honestly a scanner and scanning into the cloud. So I want you to think about where's all the places you keep your receipt. What behaviors will you change after today? I need y'all to help me do me a favor. I want you to tell us what behaviors will you change. And I want y'all to come on back to the Facebook group when the training is over, because I want to continue the discussion and I want to answer your questions that you're having with the workbook and completing the workbook. I want you to think about the large purchases you made, HVAC systems, sanitizing systems. Think about it. Think about the goal date that you're going to have all your records at your fingertips, at your disposal. And what would learning more about your finances do for your business? I want you to think about all of this. What will this do for your business? How will it help you? How will it help you if you implement, if you don't have it, or if you do have it, but you're not using it most efficiently? How will this improve your business? That's what I want you to think about, okay? But I want you to protect yourself. Keep it all in a secure space again. Keep it in a secure space. I suggest the cloud, like a Google Drive cloud, a Dropbox cloud. I think SharePoint has the same feature if you're a Microsoft Office person, because paper fades. And if you ever get audited, sometimes auditors do not have to accept your bank statement. Auditors can decline to accept your bank statements and say, no, I want the actual receipt. And if you're receiving ARPA funds and different stabilization grants, they can request that you send them receipts for all of this stuff. So COVID has been a really bad thing, but it's also in some ways going to make some of us better business owners. And again, why do you want to keep all these receipts? I know people ask me that. Yes, people really ask me that. So it's not a crazy question, but you do want to keep all of these receipts for Childcare Profit System number 6. We almost there, y'all. And that's our tax systems. You want to keep this for your tax planning and your tax readiness system. So I know nobody likes to talk about tax. I know it's like pulling teeth. So also on the record keeping system, if you don't have QuickBooks, they're giving you 30% off for 6 months. You can use our affiliate link there. And if you'd like to learn about doing your own books, we also have a link where you can schedule a call and talk to a member of our team that will tell you about our academy. So this is our tax sheet. Y'all, can y'all see the tax sheet? Can y'all give me a tax in the comment box and let me know that we can all see our tax planning sheet? So we really put a lot of thought into this to make sure you all had everything you needed to be successful. And I want you to write. And I'm going to be asking some of these questions in the group later. And I want y'all to come in and share. Let's talk about it. Because when I talk to y'all and I listen to y'all, I'm better to understand how to help you. QuickBooks does have payroll. I like it for accounting. I don't like it for payroll. So you can on your tax planning and tax readiness systems, you want to think about how will implementing or improving these systems help your business, a goal date of when you're going to have it together. What would learning more about this do for your life? What questions would you like to ask if you had a consultation with a CPA? Oh, and I gave y'all something else in here. Let me show you. I'll show you very quickly. I also gave you a list of 50 deductions that 50 daycare deductions that's in the workbook. And then if you'd like to schedule a consultation to get specific questions answered, there's a link where you can set that up too. So you want to have all of these tax systems, all these record systems, all these systems in place so that it can all feed into your tax system. And even just the process of getting your taxes done is a system. So it's October already. All right. And it's almost November. So now is the time to think about your tax planning and your tax readiness systems. Keeping your receipts will help come in handy during preparation time. Just because you have a profit and loss statement or you work with an accountant doesn't mean your tax situation is just going to happen without you. It doesn't mean you can just drop stuff off and upload it and walk away and not follow the rules and processes. Because you know what I'm seeing? I'm seeing more and more people get more and more penalties because their stuff isn't done. There's some things that are needed, especially for tax, that maybe is not needed during accounting, but when it comes time to do tax, it's needed. So you need to make sure that you have all of these documentations, especially for large purchases, for buildings, for vehicles, for renovations and things like that. So you don't want to find yourself scrambling at the end of the year because it's time to get your taxes done. You don't want to find yourself scrambling because you need a bank loan, a grant, you having an audit, you're trying to get a new lease. You don't want to find yourself scrambling. Did you know, starting next year for us, accountants charge more when you need things in a rush and when you go back and forth, just not providing the information. By having your stuff and having your system in place before it's too late, it not only reduces your stress, but it probably will result in you not paying as much to have your taxes done. And a lot of people don't know this, but there is a difference between tax preparation and tax planning. Tax preparation simply means you're getting your taxes done. It's not strategic, it's not forward thinking. Their job is to do an accurate return. It doesn't mean because Joe didn't save you money on your taxes that he's a bad accountant. It means you engaged him to do a job, tax preparation, and that's what he did. That's what you asked for. Maybe that's what you paid for. But tax planning is more proactive. It looks like the future. It helps you make the best decisions today to shape your tax tomorrow. Now, we see a lot of people wanting tax planning, but have never owed taxes a day in their life, and nothing has changed in their situation. So, when you go to think about tax planning, you absolutely need to have a profit and loss because your tax is calculated based on your taxable income. If you don't know what your taxable income is, then there's no way to do any sort of tax planning. Now, being tax ready means you have all of your documents together in an organized fashion. You're not spoon feeding it to your tax person. You're using their organizer. And if they didn't give you one and you don't know what they need, you definitely want to ask. Help your tax person help you. This will ensure that your return is complete and is accurate. I know a lot of my colleagues and myself, we won't even touch a return until we believe we have everything. And that's because number one, every time we touch it, it becomes less profitable, paying administrative people, tax people our own time. And then number two, if a person is giving you bits and pieces of information, it raises concerns as to if everything is complete or not. Another part of being tax ready and helping your tax person help you, read your returns, watch your videos if they send them. Don't sign things you don't understand. Understand you're being asked to review what was done to make sure you're in agreement with it. So if you review your return and your name was spelled wrong, that's great. That's why you're reviewing it. If you review your return and a form wasn't included, that's great. That's why you're reviewing it. Because when you sign it, you are signing it under penalties of perjury of the law. So ask for organizers if you need them. See if you need to book a consultation if you're not sure if you're ready. Yes, it costs you money, but it will probably cost you a lot less than the pain of not having it done right the first time, getting audits and things. And follow that rule. Stop emailing y'all social security cards and stuff. Stop sending them through Facebook Messenger and text messages. Make sure you're using a secure file system or even a fax machine could be possibly even safer than some of the things that I've seen this year. You should look into making estimated tax payments so that you don't get hit with underpayment penalties or even worse, nasty surprises in the form of huge unexpected tax bills during the year. So I gotta tell y'all something. I want y'all to look at this sign real close. You can end up with little to no money in the bank and still have a large tax balance. That's because there are some cash flows, money that leaves out of your business and is not deductible. So this is another reason why you don't want to commingle because you'll think there's no money in your bank account. I've seen people with no money in their bank account with overdrafts the week before, and then they owe $30,000 in tax. This is why. Because commingling, once again, it can impede your abilities to implement tax planning and being tax ready. Because it can give you the illusion that you're not profitable when you really are, or it can make you think you're profitable and you're not. And I saved the best system for last. Hang in there with me. I'm going to answer your question. Oh, don't forget. Oh, the winner is going to be randomly selected as well. So this is the system that holds all of the other systems together. It's a system that houses your payment systems, your payroll systems, your banking systems, your budgeting systems, your record keeping systems, and your tax systems. This is the mother of systems. This system enables you to effectively implement your tax planning and tax readiness system. Are we ready for our last childcare profit system of the night before we get into some more stuff? Are we ready? Are we ready? Are we ready for number 7? Okay. We ready for number 7? Okay. All right. Let's go. Number 7. We're going to talk about accounting systems. Question. Do you know what your profit is this year so far? Do you know? I'm not talking about how much you collected. I'm not talking about how much you were paid. I'm not talking about how much payroll you paid. I'm talking about how much is your profit, what's left over when you look at the business money that came in after the expenses that came out. Do you know how much tax you would pay today if today was tax day? How many of you know right now that you would like to grow your numbers, to make more money, to make more impact? How many of y'all know that? So if the answer to the question before was you don't know, that's okay because unfortunately, you're in good company. But I want you to know that if you want to grow your numbers, you got to know your numbers. But it's impossible to grow that which you don't know. And in order to grow your numbers, you must have a system to keep track of what comes in and what goes out. You need to know the categories or classifications that these expenses or cash flows in and out of your business fall into. Do you ever wonder when you spend money for your business, does this count and what does this count as? Do you guys ever find yourself wondering that and wishing you knew? Well, imagine if you were able to know the moment that something is out of whack and you were able to detect by reading your financial reports that these financial reports are generated based on what's reported, reviewed, and reconciled in your system. Imagine knowing it. Imagine knowing, having more control, actually knowing, having all of this information at your fingertips. Well, at our firm, we are QuickBooks Pro Advisors and Advanced Pro Advisors, and we also have an academy, the Childcare Accounting and Business Academy. And that's where, among many other things, we teach childcare CEOs to do their own bookkeeping so that they can be impacted and empowered and help educate these children one kid at a time. So imagine how you would feel if you finally felt totally organized and in control of your business, of your finances. Imagine if you had access to the best marketers, human resource professionals, mental health professionals, tax strategists, $1 million childcare mentors, investment bankers, financial advisors. You want grant writers. Imagine what difference that would make in your business. Do you think having a team, having a network like this, do you think this would make a major impact in your business and move the needle in the right way? Well, what if I told you that dream could very easily, oh, y'all jumping the gun, I'm gonna tell you. What if I told you that that dream could very easily become a reality for you? Just like it did for my first class of students. And Kaba, are y'all in the building? Can y'all drop a Kaba? I want to know who from Kaba. I know Miss Ed is here. Just like it did for our students in our first class. And they graduate this December. Oh, thank you, Miss Crystal said it's priceless. They've actually asked to stay in the program because they enjoy working together. They enjoy what they learn. And they enjoy teaching me how to teach them. So this is not just an academy that teach you how to do books. This is a business mastermind style academy that's going to help you to grow professionally and personally. We're forming bonds, friendships, and relationships here. Lives are being changed. Miss Etta came to my party. If I were to invite you to enroll in this program, would you be interested? Would you be interested? So this academy is for those that are either ready to take over, take control, and do their own books. It's for people that may be working with an accountant and don't understand what is happening. It's for people that has a W-2 employee on staff and they decided that that person needs to level it up, learn from the best so that they can serve them at the highest level. So I'm announcing open enrollment for CABA, the Child Care Accounting and Business Academy, our Mastermind Style Academy, our Revised Academy. So this is the only business academy accounting program created specifically for childcare owners. We're going to teach you everything we talked about today, but in more depth about all of those systems that all contribute directly to your profits. Now, I suggest that you still meet, I suggest that everyone meets with an accountant at least once a year. But when you're in CABA, you get to meet, you get to work, you get to network with your coach accountants and the other coaches every week. So, this is not some course that you'll never open once you buy it. This is a done with you or your bookkeeper, your W-2 employee, 12-month program to make sure you can learn as you go. And you'll apply what you learn. And I know you don't have the time to go out and get an MBA. That's why we're going to teach you the skills that you need to do it and do it gradually. So once you graduate from CABA, you might not leave, but once you graduate from CABA, you'll be a member. Once you become a member, you will receive the following. This is what you get. You get dedicated CEO coaching and implementation group calls. This has a value of $6,000. Every call will focus on the topics that are going to build upon the next topics, helping you add more skills to your toolboxes like beads on a necklace. We'll make sure you walk away from every session with clarity and the skills to start applying what you learned instantly in your business. There's also going to be weekly office hours with a member of our team. And if you have questions, that's why we have weekly Q&A office hours. And Stephanie, I see that. There's going to be live trainings with special guests, okay? So we're going to talk about from the best in the business and not just childcare business, how to implement business systems, create a social media presence that fills spots in your childcare and creates the right image for your brand. We're going to talk about the best payroll practices, the best retirement practices, solving your staffing issues, tax strategies, grant funding, how to expand profitably, and whatever else may come up along the way as we're working together over this year. You get access to the private VIP community valued at $10,000. And that's a dedicated chat that will connect you with other VIP students and our coaches, helping you to work as a supportive community. Yes, it is tax deductible. You get personalized membership that's valued at $8,000. And don't worry, you won't be left behind because our success coaches will be checking in with you to make sure you're moving forward and you're on the right track. You also get access to our money making mastermind network. And together, members of the Child Care Accounting and Business Academy are worth millions of dollars. Find camaraderie and sisterhood or brotherhood in our community of successful, driven women. Men are welcome. We just don't have many yet. So don't carry the burden alone. Share, support, and be part of something great. Get access to our proven accounting systems. Now, it took me years to learn all of this, so I couldn't really put a dollar value on it. But it's like giving a key to the safety deposit box and the stuff to the brim with gold. Okay? You also get, I'm not done giving out stuff. You get 2 one-on-one deep dives into your business. And it's like taking your pulse to see how you're doing. Business owners are so used to thinking of annual reporting. Yet when you look at your business quarterly, you can catch yourself before the fall, or you can surprise yourself with how well you're doing. And when you see something working, guess what? You can do more of it so your business grows. So I done told y'all with the value. Now, don't worry, it is not 55K yet. I done told y'all all of this stuff. All of this stuff is worth a value of $55,000, but that is not today's price. If all this did was replace the potential master's degree that you would go earn at a traditional university, And Stephanie in the comments just said she has an MBA in healthcare and she still can't make it work. I have an MBA as well. I have clients that have MBAs. So if all this did was replace that degree, which you might pay between 60 to 100K to get, would it be worth it? If all this did was replace the need for you to pay for your monthly accountant every year for 5 years, would it be worth it? That could be like 60K right there. If all this did was to help you save a minimum of $10,000 in taxes for the next 5 years, would that help? Would that be worth it? And lastly, if you were to go hire an in-house staff accountant to fill this role, that would cost at least $55,000 per year, plus their benefits, plus their payroll, plus their taxes and insurance. And you would still have to have them trained on how things run in your business. So would that be worth it? So it's not $55,000. Don't worry. But that's what it's worth, at least. It's not even $18,000 today. If you invest before midnight and pay in full, your annual membership as a CABA student member is just $15,000. That's it. Bonus number one. Now, this is for the people that sign up in the next 24 hours. It's all about budgeting, baby. That's where we actually have a small group. We sit down, we do our budgets in one day. I actually like doing this on Saturday mornings. Bonus number two, we show you how to read your financial statement. We show you how to read what you have, even if it's not formal. Christine, that's the wrong registration link. That's not the one I gave you today. Bonus number three, you also get a review of your tax return. So we'll take a look at the last one. And then while you're in the program, before you submit your books to your tax accountant, and your tax accountant might be our firm, once you submit that, guess what? When you're ready, we will take a look at it before your taxes are done to make sure all your T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. But I'm not done with the bonuses. Paid in full bonus number one. You get a strategic session with my mentor, Alyssa J. Dillon. She actually was the CFO of a $2 million childcare business with 7 locations. I also asked her to come in and help me because I told you I'm bringing in more heavy hitters this round. She also is going to conduct a VIP development session for your team from former childcare CEOs who manage $1 million childcare businesses. And then the third paid in full bonus, also with Alyssa, she is going to teach you something that I use. She is going to teach you something that I use in part to get all of you registered. There were 177 people registered today. She's going to teach you her organic, magnetic, magic marketing strategies. And that's to get butts in seat in your center, staff butts and children butts. So you're going to get all of that worth $67,000. You're going to get it today for $15,000. And this is the enrollment page. If you are a member that wants to continue, your price remains your former price. Please don't sign up. But anybody new, this is what you do next. You would just scan the QR code, or you could go to the website. It's actually the one with the 2 behind it that I was talking about, Christine. So we're also going to hear from maybe one, I don't know how many of our students, but we're actually going to hear from them. So you can get started now for just $15K, pay in full, and you get access to the stuff with Alyssa for those that pay in full tonight. Those are the paid in full bonuses. So you might be wondering, who has this worked for? This is all nice and fine, but who has this worked for? So some of our students are actually here, real life childcare CEOs like you, and they decided that they would share their story. So Miss Etta, are you ready? I will unmute you. And I don't know if anybody else wants to talk, but I'll unmute you guys too. Miss Etta, are you here?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
I'm
Hi.
sorry.
Yes.
I forgot my speaker was off. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Well, hello everyone. I am Etta Hamilton. Live in Warwick, New York, and I have two childcare businesses. Um, the one that I'm working on with CABA is my center. I have a home base as well. One thing I wanted to say, just to piggyback off of a lot of the things that you guys are getting through this presentation, is that it works. I'm true to that. I started out CABA. Actually, I know Shanita from the past few years. We met. I joined CABA last year, January of this year. Um, and my biggest thing over the years with her was commingling. I was very big on it. Never knew what that word meant until I met her, and I'm proud to say that I do not commingle anymore. So it's definitely something that is doable. I thought it wasn't. I also thought I was not a numbers person. I would say that a lot. That is not in my vocabulary anymore. I am a numbers person. I know my numbers to grow my numbers. I know how to, I understand my numbers. I know my income. I know how to read my reports now. I really was blind to it. I would just let the accountant do everything, and I just was at his mercy or her mercy. But now I know these things. I love the um, connection that we do have through CABA. We are a group of like-minded individuals where we connect, we ask questions, we help each other. We just have this connection, and it's important to have someone or a group of people that you can talk to and get some real nuggets that help you as an individual. It's a mentoring program. I would say this if I could real quick. I know I have other people want to talk, but during our CABA, one of our classes, we had an expert came in on payroll, and during our class, she mentioned something about a particular payroll situation, and I ended up speaking with her later on and found out that I was doing something incorrectly, and I owed a lot of money to two employees because I wasn't doing it the correct way, and I found that out through CAPA, and it was rectified. She helped me. She walked me through it. We took care of it so I wouldn't end up having any issues with the IRS. But I don't think if I wasn't in CABA or in this organization that I would have ever knew that, and it could have been years and years going down the line that I was doing it incorrectly. Um, so that's it. That was very important for me to understand that part of payroll, and it will never happen again. So things like that come up, where you think you're doing the right thing, but then you find out you're not. And you have a group of people and experts that come in and help you and guide you through it. Um, like someone else chimed in here, it's priceless. I mean, to some, $15,000 might be a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, it's priceless. You'll never, if you ever got into a situation, you'd never be able to recap that money. But the knowledge behind it is just mind blowing at times. So I encourage you. I know there was somebody on here. I wrote her name down. Hopefully you don't mind me saying this to you. But Ebony Baggett wrote something in the chat saying that she really wants to get things going, and this is going to be a new year for her. I'm rooting for you. Um, that's how I was. I knew I had to make a change. I knew I had to do something, and it's worth every penny. So Ebony, kudos for you. I hope you're signing up ASAP, and everybody else. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Etta. Thank you.
Can't
We
hear you.
appreciate you. Oh, y'all can't hear
Yep,
me?
there you go.
Oh,
Yep, I can
okay.
hear you.
Thank you so much, Miss Etta. We
You're welcome.
appreciate you. I think some of my other early birds might have went night night. So I won't have them come on. But that's a question that people ask. People say, who has this worked for? How has this helped them? So what better way for me to tell you who it's worked for and how it helped them? Is actually not better for me to tell you. It's actually better for the people that it's actually helped to be able to tell them. So now is the time for you to decide. Now, I know we have a winner to select. No, we have a winner to select, and I gotta find. Do we have the winner's name up? Oh, yes, it is tax deductible. If you pay for your training for business, it is absolutely tax deductible. And I want to tell you something else. I'm going to tell her story because she actually logged off early, but so I won't tell you her name. Everyone in the program signs a non-disclosure agreement because everybody talks about whatever it is going on in their situation. So we wanted to make sure it was a really safe place where nobody was worried that my business is going to get out in the street. So everyone signs an NDA. But there's one person in our program that before she started, she really had no idea that her business was on track to lose $43,000 that year. So we cried because it was painful. It's painful when you working hard, putting your blood, sweat, and tear, pouring your heart and soul into something, only to find out that it's not profitable. And better yet, not only is it not profitable, but we found out that she was getting ready to lose tens of thousands of dollars. We were able to figure that out on a fluke. That wasn't what we were even trying to figure out that day. But once we got to digging into her numbers and helping her understand what was going on, we were not only able to identify that, but we were able to rectify that before it came to be. And now she's on the right track. The last we talked, she's actually working on trying to buy herself a new house and doing renovations in the building and all kind of stuff. But that wouldn't have been the case if she didn't get a handle on them numbers. So, so now is the time to decide. You might want to know how this all works. But if there's more questions, there is a time for questions in a minute. I want to first select the winner. Miss Christine, do we have the wheel up? Do we have the wheel ready with the names so we can pull the names out the wheel and find out who won the prize? If we okay. Do you want to screen share so you can show us the wheel spinning? Because I'm a big kid and I like the wheel. Okay, go ahead. Let's see. So see, I'm not picking a winner. Oh, what's the question? Before you screen share, Miss Etta, why don't you pick the question for us? Pick one question, and the person when they get called upon, they have to be present and they have to have the correct answer. Would you like to select the question?
Sure. What is commingling?
Oh, okay. Yes, Tanya, you can share it in. So now when the person answers, they are going, when your name get picked, you have to answer the question correctly. Well, ah.
Oh, poor Jim.
Okay. Vendina Sinha, are you still here? Gotta make sure you're
Yes,
still here.
yes, I am.
Okay, do you have an answer for the question, ma'am?
No, oh my goodness.
That's okay. See, Miss Etta, she hardcore. She hardcore. That's okay. We will make sure we have your email address. We will make sure you have the answer to the question. Katanya, can we pick another person, same question? Don't y'all be Googling either. Don't be looking in your workbooks.
Yeah.
Katanya, can you pick another name for us? So Miss Ebony actually made me decide to make it more fun when she said that it's hard to pay attention on Zoom. So I was like, okay, I got you. Stephanie Whitmore,
Stephanie.
come on down. Are you here?
I am
Yep,
here. I'm
I
in
see it.
glare, but I am here. I do this very much, and I know I need not to, but I don't know how not to. So commingling is mixing my personal money with my business money. It's a
Okay.
no, apparently, really bigger than I thought.
Yay, you are absolutely right. That is exactly what commingling is. And do you have PayPal or Cash App?
I have Venmo.
I don't have Venmo. Y'all know I just told y'all about these bad systems.
I don't use it for business.
It's a personal one. It's a personal one. It's a personal gift. So you don't have PayPal. Do you have Zelle?
No, I heard bad things about Zelle. My boyfriend got hacked on Zelle, so we don't get that one. I do have
So,
PayPal.
well, oh, you do have PayPal.
I think I do. I just haven't used it in a really long time.
Okay. Well, send me your PayPal thing. I usually like to
will.
send people money over to while they're live, while they can see it actually happening. So we ring the money bell.
Oh.
Congratulations, Stephanie.
You could just give me a discount. I'd be happy.
Well, you want? We'll see. We'll see. Okay.
Okay.
So now we selected our winner. Yay! So we talked about a whole lot of stuff today. I know we talked about a lot of stuff. So, are there any questions? Does anyone have any questions?
I got all kinds of questions.
So it's okay. You can ask your questions. Well, let me do it this way. Does anyone have any questions about payment systems? Does anyone have any questions about banking systems? And I need to see. Okay. So with the payment systems, the reason why Zelle, Cash App, and Venmo, I was saying is bad for business. The reason why it's bad for business is because there's no way for you to keep track of who owes you money, how much they owe you, and how long they've owed you. So also for Cash App, Zelle, and Venmo, you want to be sure that you're being compliant with the IRS requirements, and whatever you're paying, you want to make sure you have your receipts and your documentation to prove, to justify what you're doing. Kay's question, Kay Dormis, she said, you said that if you were an LLC, you should not be on payroll. Why? If you are a single member or multi-member on LLC, the IRS creates this rule. So that's not one of our quirky accounting rules. The IRS says that it shouldn't be done that way. If your business is formed that way, unless you make a special tax election so that you can be taxed another kind of way. So that's a good question. And what is the best way for you to be taxed? That's really going to depend on your business, what's best for your business, and what's good for your business structure. So as you go through your workbook and work your workbook assignments, you will be able to actually realize even more stuff. I guarantee you, somebody is going to discover they had more bank accounts in their business that they didn't even know that they had. So Hattie said, how can you pay yourself? So how can you pay yourself? That's a good question. So I got a video about that on YouTube. It is my #1 watched video on YouTube. And I'll actually put that in the thing to send y'all a follow-up email. I'll include that. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, please. But I'll tell you in short, if you're not supposed to be on payroll, you can do a couple things. You can Venmo, Zelle, Cash App yourself. Well, not Venmo, Zelle, Cash App. I'm sorry. Zelle is not that bad. You can do a bank transfer from your business to your personal account. You can write a check from your business to your personal account. I'm not going to send you to the bank, but if you at the bank depositing them payments because you don't have a payment system, then you can also go to the teller and withdraw money from the bank and take it and do as you please. And do all of your personal stuff in your personal account. So even if now somebody is probably saying, oh my God, I didn't do that all year. Life is bad. I'm horrible. I need to wait to the new year. No, you don't. You don't need to wait into the new year because you still have time in this year and you still got to get this year's taxes done anyway. So you may as well just bite the bullet, draw the line in the sand, and just go through it and get it done. It's really, it's never going to be a fun time, but you just got to do it. And once you do it, it'll be rewarding. So I hope that helps you about how how you can pay yourself. So I do want to tell y'all, there is a question that I'm getting. I have a couple of questions that I'm getting these private messages. So I see if I missed your private message, it's because I have a lot of them and I didn't get a chance to, I didn't see it. So if you want to copy paste this in the back, that's fine. So Aisha, she says, so if you're an LLC, do not pay yourself where tax is being taken out. Ooh, Aisha, we talked about estimated tax payments. So if no taxes are being taken out, this is why you need to know what your taxable income is. So once you know what your taxable income is and all of the other things going on in your tax life, then from there you can estimate how much taxes should be paid, and then you can pay that. The IRS wants you to pay it quarterly, but it might be easier for you to pay it on a monthly basis. Did that answer your question? If it didn't, yes, you can unmute, and please let me know if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly.
Hey, it's Isha. That's fine. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So